Hello, my name is Brant. Um, Today is the 15th day of May, 2022. And what I wanted to address today is a character, a person from the past. And my title is simply Who Was John Dee? Um, John Dee was an incredible person during the Elizabethan age. So let me just read this from a particular book I have here. Just want to explain to you what it's about, who is John Dee, and go on from there. John Dee was a mathematician and a Kabbalist, so number accession in this context is not far-fetched. Indeed, modern Americans are ever more redundant to a string of numbers, be it their zip codes, global positioning, satellite addresses, or their social security number, without which they may not buy or sell. The Zohar, spelled Z-O-H-A-R, says that everything lies veiled in numbers. The principle corresponds to the 3 sevens of the 2001 gateway to 21 epoch. The mechanics of numbers as delineated in the Zohar, spelled Z-O-H-A-R, and elsewhere in the Kabbalah are the product of a consensus about measurement. Dee's significant number, 7, and Clark's only slightly disguised significant number, 21. He's speaking of Adam C. Clark. Are arbitrary yardsticks imposed on our perception of the temporary orders so as to orient us to the space-time conjunction necessary to the maintenance of the once and future inevitability of the cryptocracy Camelot allegory. The contrast between the reign of numbers and the world of poetic serpentivity is analogous with the contrast between metric and traditional measurements. Traditional measures, that is, pounds, pecks, gallons, bushels, leagues, phantoms, and furlongs, etc., represents measurements on a human scale. A human scale. Okay? So when there are many countries out here that are actually that are using a metric system, and actually the United States is the only country that is a major country that does not use the metric scale, even though it was introduced in my days, basically the late 70s and early 80s. And actually, if you look at it on your measurements on whatever products you buy here in America, it's still in what we call pounds, ounces, that type of thing, but yet it also has a metric deal also. So it's on both deals here, okay? So let me continue on here. Which constitutes mankind's defense against the empire of the machine. Do you remember? I went to see a movie. I'm trying to think of the movie. I can't think of it right now. I'll get it back to that somewhat here. With Arnold Schwarzenegger, with the future of mankind, sort of what? Terminator. It's called Terminator. Do you remember the first stages of the first few minutes of the movie? And it was simply man fighting machines, what we call robots at that point. I don't know if that, again, was a setup. In other words, being a way to introduce that mankind is going to face that situation. Or is it a sense of fear porn that's introduced into man's psychological makeup? Okay. Modern measurement, on the other hand, polices our world with the lifeless rigidity of the metric system, first imposed in 1795 by the Freemasons. And I'm not saying all Freemasons are bad. That's not what I'm trying to say, okay? So let me go back here to explain a little bit more about what John Dee. John Dee was what I call so-called brilliant man, but in reality, simply, it seems as though he did it in a devious way. So let's go in here. It says this is on page 16, Secret Societies and Psychological Warfare. This is by the gentleman named Michael A. Hoffman II. The materialization of this GYP, GYP, which what is GYP? GYP means simply a con, a fake, a swindle perpetrated by the Egyptians. AKA examples of that would be, as he gives it, illustrations of gypsies who immigrated to India and later to Europe. I don't think he means it simply as that gypsies are bad people. I just think simply he just uses that word GYP being the beginning of their name. This diabolical nightmare was instrumented by a millennial-old esoteric current, fine-tuned and propelled by England's royal astrologer and secret agent John Dee. Dee is spelled D-E-E. Codenamed 007 during the Elizabethan age for full viral materialization in our 2001 age. This process began with the number 7 and culminated in a hermetical game of hazard or chance with the number 21. I want to explain this one other thing here. The numbers from 1 to 9 are all man's numbers. The number, what we call 0 or O, is God's number. It would be called what we call 0 point. 0 point is either to do with your birth or your death. Okay, so you understand simply. So I got this from a gentleman who's kin to Jermaine on the show by Crow, CRROW 777 radio, and giving illustrations of that, of what 0 point is. Zero is not man's number. Is actually a God's number. Okay, 0 point meaning simply is the chance, the opportunity when you come into this world basically at 0, and you leave this world at 0. So it's life and death. So the working in its entirely represents the process of human alchemy, dedicated to transformation of base matter, humanity, into the goal that is the man-beast. Within the psychodrama that is the revelation of the method making manifest of all that is hidden, which was initiated just a few years after Dee's death in the pages of the 1615 Rosicrucian Manifesto. And it's called Confessio Fraternitatis, which would mean fraternity, or Confessions of the Laudable Fraternity of the Most Honorable Order of the Rosy Cross. The psychological warfare contained within this esoterical confessions is predicated on the following strategy. One day, when we have secured our victory, we will confess our crimes to a ritual-bound public. The Confessio foretold this nearly 400 years ago. So this is 1615 when this was written, and we're now in the age of 2022. Is that what we're told? We don't know if that's correct or not. That which in before times had been unseen shall be spoken forth and uttered, making manifest innumerably secrets. The Western masses enter frontium and bestiality with enthusiasm. They cheer programming and suppression of dissent. They volunteer for digital surveillance. They idolize their executioners, yes, and exterminators. Let me spell that for you. Exterminators. They celebrate their new Swedish identity to process a population of Golem, Goyim, sufficiently depraved to devour unborn children for the benefit of the elderly, mixed races and species, and rebuild the Tower of Babel. It was necessary to enmesh the people of the West in an era that would idolize their material world and deny the spiritual. I did an earlier video today talking about that and how, what we call the Renaissance, that we are told that basically the flowering of man's knowledge, so to speak. We're told that. In reality, Renaissance is a diversion. It took us away from nature and led us to the materialism that we're involved in now. Many people will kill other people here for a pair of tennis shoes. Okay, that's where it's come down to. An era where heedless, perpetrated juveniles may consume genetically modified junk food, not fit for human consumption, from demineralized soil, and be saved from the consequences of these faulty choices by great God called science. And he goes on here, says, are you a career girl and need to postpone childbearing? Modern Sarahs will have children until age 100, courtesy not of the God of the Old Testament, but of the God of test tubes. Are you a drunk who destroyed your liver? Pray for the death of a young motorcyclist or the execution of a hapless dissident in Red China, and you may have a new liver or failing that, a Hugh hog liver. In other words, a hog that's been genetically modified. Are you a Parkinson's patient or a stroke victim? Relief is around the corner, courtesy of the injection into your brain of a needle containing cells taken from the corpse of a baby murdered in the womb. That's what abortion is all about. Relief is around the corner, courtesy of the injection into your brain of a needle containing cells taken from the corpse of a baby murdered in the womb, or from the body of a living pig man. And so it goes with a contentious carnival-like madness. Here's the key. This is what's so key, folks. This is why we're here. And if you don't realize the seriousness of the time, it's here. Why is this depravity stronger and more legal now in the 2001 epoch than at any other time in recorded human history? Because in the past, man could exculpate himself by pleading ignorance. But in the revelation of the method / making manifest of all that is hidden in this hidden era, man knows. So this is, again, from Michael Hoffman's work. This is incredibly where we're at today. So there are no excuses because we do know what's going on. We may simply push it down and refuse to see it. But in reality, simply is man does know, but he doesn't really want to face up to that. And so this is, again, from Michael Hoffman's particular book. Again, I share this, Secret Societies, okay, and Psychological Warfare. And it's key for this. There's so much in here in 2 pages, folks, that gets to the point and yet shows where we are really at in this particular time frame that we're here. I do believe that this is my own injections of thinking here, is that I believe it simply is that there'll be those that basically don't want to see this, and they will buy into whatever is a part of it. And there'll be the few who actually see that this is, again, the destruction of mankind, and that people are going to have to either be isolated somewhat or work together and actually working on the land, so to speak, in order to even feed themselves, so to speak, which is what we need to get back to, which is nature. So a lot of people don't want to hear this. They want to pretend that everything's poo-poo and we're not there, such and such. But what he is saying simply is, no, this is clear. This is very clear. This is a spiritual warfare. It's about taking your soul or your spirit. That's how serious it is, folks. That's why even the book of Revelations point about this. All this talks about this. They used this as a script, again, planted to those who are Christians to see this also. So, and the possibility simply is that eventually the number that have come up here recently is now 2040. They're very clear on what they want to do with the Georgia Guidestones. Again, their attitude is simply is that they hate life, all life. In fact, a lot of them, I think, simply hate their own lives themselves. And this is sad, but it's the truth. And there are those that are simply going to fall by the wayside. They're literally going to be dead. And only those who stand at the end are the ones who have saved their soul and their spirits. That's how critical it is for you to say. We also must understand simply is that we are all God's children, no matter the color, no matter whatever it is, simply is, but we've been traumatized in our lives immensely to the point simply is not only by the media, but also by our own parents. See. So I appreciate you listening today. I hope that you will glean some of this and see the true picture and not to live in fear. Thank you very much. You have a great day. And if there's any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer those questions the best I can. Thank you.